Hi, everybody. It's Mr. Tom again. We're reading our summer chapter book, Penguin Puzzle, and we're up to chapter 3. Okay? Let's get started with chapter 3. We spent the rest of the flight putting on our cold weather gear. Thermal underwear went on first. Then came several more layers of clothes. No wonder penguins walk so funny, Arnold said, as he waddled down the aisle. All this padding makes it hard to move. Arnold, waddle back to your seat, Miss Frizzle said. We're getting ready for touchdown. I looked up at the flashing sign over my seat. Fasten seatbelts. Prepare for landing. Okay, there's a picture already. There's Arnold with all his cold weather gear waddling down the aisle of the bus. Okay. Where will we land, Uncle Cecil? I don't see an airport, I asked as I checked my seatbelt. Planes and boats both come to Antarctica, Uncle Cecil said. There are scientists who live on Antarctica, especially during the summer. Several countries have research stations there. Even tourists come to visit. The plane was dropping lower and lower and closer to the water. Suddenly, we could see ice blue ocean below us. There were big chunks of ice floating on it. Miss Frizzle, I don't see an airport, Ralphie cried out. Are we going to crash land in the water? Miss Frizzle was too busy to answer Ralphie. I saw her punching buttons and checking readouts. Beside me, Uncle Cecil was clutching his briefcase to his chest. Phoebe, he said nervously, are you sure Miss Frizzle knows what she's doing? Just when it looked as if we were going to nosedive into the water, something amazing happened. The magic school bus jet turned into a magic school bus boat. Miss Frizzle wasn't at the controls of a plane anymore. Now she had her hands on a big boat wheel. All of us kids were sitting on a bench inside the cabin of the boat instead of in our plane seats. First Mate Bird, I need your help, Miss Frizzle called out to Uncle Cecil. Aye, aye, Captain, Uncle Cecil replied. He jumped up to join Miss Frizzle at the wheel. Together they studied the map of Antarctica. All right, there's a cool picture. There's the magic school boat instead of bus or jet. And it says the Frozen Frizzle is the name of the boat. Isn't that cool? Ahoy, mates, Carlos shouted. Check out the whale. We all ran to the window where Carlos was standing. It didn't take long to see the whale. It was blowing a big spout of water into the air. The force of the exhaled air was so strong it pushed up the surface of the water into a big spray. We thought the spout was cool, but then a huge blue whale broke out of the water right in front of us. It was over 80 feet long. I could see why it's the largest mammal on Earth. It's the blue whale. That whale doesn't eat boats, does it? Arnold asked nervously. Not to worry, Uncle Cecil said. Blue whales eat little sea animals called krill. Do I look like a krill? Arnold asked, ducking so the blue whale couldn't see him. This is how krill looks, Arnold, the Frizz said, flipping open a book. No family resemblance. From the desk of Miss Frizzle, there's a notes on krill. Little krill and the big chill. Krill are little shrimp-like sea creatures. Antarctic krill are only about 1.5 inches long. That's about that long. So the krill are really small. Swarms of krill can be several miles wide. That many krill can make the ocean look pink. Whales, seals, penguins, and fish eat krill. Fishing boats catch krill, too. I want to see some penguins, Ralphie explained. He waddled around the deck, flapping his arms like penguins do. It won't be long, Uncle Cecil told him. Penguins eat krill. There are probably some in the water around us right now. Everyone whipped out their binoculars to look. Suddenly, Dorothy Ann let out a shriek. Look! At the island ahead of us, she said. There are funny black and white birds all over it. Penguin sighting, said Uncle Cecil. He sounded as excited as I felt. And there you can see they're looking through the binoculars, and you can see the penguins on the land or on the ice. We all ran to the front of the boat and trained our binoculars on the island. I couldn't believe my eyes. They were the cutest animals I'd ever seen. Let's get closer, Uncle Cecil said. It's a whole colony of chin straps. Are they really wearing chin straps? I asked Uncle Cecil. No, that's just a pattern in their feathers, Uncle Cecil said. There are more chin strap penguins in Antarctic waters than any other kind of penguin. And then, on a side note, it says there are almost 12 million chin strap penguins in Antarctica. Why are they called chin straps? They have a narrow band of black feathers that go under their chin from ear to ear. These little penguins are only 28 inches tall. Chin straps may be small, but they are the boldest penguins of all. There were so many chin straps on the island we could hardly see the rocks. As we got closer to the island, I noticed a smell. The smell got stronger and stronger. Everyone had to hold their noses. Ew, what's that? Wanda asked. Uncle Cecil laughed and pointed to the penguins. That's penguin guano you smell. The island is covered with it. And guano means poop. So that was penguin poop they were smelling. I noticed that Liz had turned yellow, green, and had her tongue sticking out. Ew. Full speed ahead, Miss Frizzle, Uncle Cecil said. Let's get out into some fresh air and find some other penguins. We all waved goodbye to the chin strap penguins. The other one was holding my nose shut. I couldn't believe they could stand that smell. I was happy when we were back in the fresh, freezing air. Miss Frizzle, Ralphie called. Is that Antarctica up ahead of us? We all turned to look where Ralphie was pointing. Ahead of us was a huge piece of ice. That's just an iceberg, Ralphie, the Frizz said. Just an iceberg? Wanda said. It's huge. She was right. The iceberg rose straight out of the water and had lots of white peaks. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Only the tip of an iceberg is usually above water. 90% of an iceberg is hidden below. A lot of icebergs are big, but some are gigantic. In 1987, an iceberg named B9 was sighted. It was 96 miles long and 22 miles wide. That's about the size of the state of Delaware. Wow, that is a big iceberg. I started to get nervous. I remembered that the Titanic sunk after it hit an iceberg. Miss Frizzle, are you sure our boat is safe this close to the iceberg? Don't worry, Phoebe, the Frizz answered. The frozen frizzle will keep us ship-shape. My heart was beating fast the whole time as we passed by the iceberg. It made our boat look like a tiny toy in the ocean. This is it, Uncle Cecil said. Antarctica. He pointed to some huge white cliffs in the distance. It looked like an iceberg, but even bigger. Miss Frizzle steered the boat toward the coastline. Suddenly there was a loud bang on the side of the frozen frizzle. We felt the whole ship shake. Uncle Cecil, I whispered in a nervous voice. What was that? Keep your cool, Phoebe, Cecil said. We just hit a piece of pack ice. It's just an ice cube compared to the iceberg that we passed by before. Antarctica was getting a little scary, but Miss Frizzle stayed on course. Suddenly, we sighted a huge cliff of ice ahead of us. What is that? Carlos asked. You're looking at the Ross Ice Shelf, Uncle Cecil explained. An ice shelf is a large chunk of ice that is broken off the land. The Ross Ice Shelf is 200 feet tall and 600 miles long, almost 1,000 feet thick. It is the largest floating ice shelf on the Antarctic coast. All right, and there is a picture of the Ross Ice Shelf right there. Cool. I noticed that Dorothy Ann was busy flipping through her notebook. I knew it was only a matter of time. According to my research, Dorothy said, an ice shelf is formed at the edge of Antarctica. See the mountain behind the Ross Ice Shelf, said Uncle Cecil. It's called Terror Mountain. It's 2 miles high 2 miles high and made up of tons of ice. The Frizz said. I think I know why it's called Terror Mountain, Wanda said, shaking in her boots as she looked straight up at the jagged ice. By the time we passed the Ross ice shelf, we were all shivering. Miss Frizzle went below deck and came up with a big pile of yellow parkas. Bundle up, she ordered. This is no time to get cold feet. And that's the end of chapter 3, okay? We're up to chapter 4. And we'll see you next time. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.